Fence sitter, agnostic. Two words separate in sound but bound in meaning. Both speak to the struggle of standing between the extremes in a world that demands allegiance. In the latest Joe Rogan Experience, Joe and Duncan Trussell confront the fractures of America under Trump. They speak of ICE raids, of families torn apart, of a nation losing its capacity for mercy. Rogan, once an enthusiastic supporter, now watches in disbelief as the machinery he helped legitimize crushes ordinary lives.
Just arresting people in front of their kids and just normal, regular people that have been here for 20 years.
Yeah.
That, everybody who has a heart can't get along with that.
The latest episode of the Joe Rogan Experience featuring Duncan Trussell takes a darker and more serious tone than usual. What starts as a casual chat between two longtime friends turns into a deep and uneasy reflection on America's current state under President Donald Trump. Both Rogan and Trussell admit that things have gotten worse than they expected, especially when it comes to how immigrants are being treated. Rogan, who publicly supported Trump in the past, confesses that he didn't think the country would reach this level of cruelty. Many fans see this as him finally waking up to what he helped promote, while others think he's only now backtracking because the situation has become impossible to defend.
Let's just talk about the immigration thing. The way it looks is horrific. When you're just arresting people in front of their kids and just normal, regular people that have been here for 20 years.
Yeah.
That, everybody who has a heart can't get along with that.
No.
Everybody who has a heart sees that and goes, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be the only way to do this.
Right.
Because you have to think, look, yeah, we have to have a border. Yes, it should have been secure. Yes, they should make sure you know who everybody is before they get in.
Yeah.
But when people have been here for 20 years, like, come on, man. That's crazy. Like,
yeah.
Let's find a way. If they've been productive members of society for 20 years, no criminal record, they worked the entire time, they paid taxes, find them a pathway to citizenship. Find a way where you can do this thing that you want to do, which is keep terrorists and cartel members from getting across the border with drugs that kill 100,000 people a year. Okay, but also have a fucking heart. Because if you don't, you're not going to get anybody on your side. If you're doing this stuff publicly, throwing women to the ground, handcuffing people, just for existing on the wrong side of the dirt.
Yeah.
Not a criminal. Not the only crime they ever committed was coming over here as a kid.
Yeah.
They probably didn't even know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You know, a lot of kids got snuck across when they were already born in Mexico. And they've grown up their entire life in America. They can't even speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And they could get sent back.
The discussion quickly moves from politics to morality. Rogan talks about how language has lost its meaning. Words like liberal and Christian don't mean what they used to. He says people now use them as tribal labels instead of real beliefs. Trussell agrees, saying people no longer argue about facts, they argue about who they are. Identity has replaced logic. From there, they talk about authoritarianism and how it slowly creeps in. It doesn't come all at once. It builds up through small actions that people ignore, like the government using military force on civilians.
At some point, there's going to be martial law, troops in the streets, and you're seeing this play out. And so, my God, and even worse, imagine you're in the fucking military. And you actually join the military. You're one of those people, September 11th happens. You're like, I'm going to defend this country. And suddenly, you're in a bus going to Portland. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they want to be there. If I had to guess, it's got to be a weird feeling to be in your own country with, like, military-grade weaponry, looking at people in duck costumes.
Yeah, it's a very blunt instrument to deal with a very complex problem. No one gets on board with that, man. No one with a heart.
They acknowledge the opposing argument, too. Some government officials claim that showing mercy only encourages more illegal crossings, leading to more deaths and exploitation by smugglers. Rogan and Trussell understand this reasoning but reject the moral trade-off. They say public cruelty doesn't solve the problem. It just erodes the country's humanity.
Well, no. I mean, the only way you can get on board with it is you have to essentially go like pure Machiavellian. Here's the argument, and the way I just gave an argument for Marxism, which I am not a Marxist. I heard a great interview with the guy running ICE on NPR, which I thought was wild. NPR had him on, and they gave him a fair interview. I figured they would be all up his ass. So his defense of the Machiavellian tactics that are being employed right now is that he apparently has worked as some kind of border agent for 20 years. He says, you could hear it in his voice, man, it fucked him up. He's like, I've seen the back of trucks filled with dead bodies. Oof. You know what I mean? With children there who died, no oxygen. I've seen these horrors that have come from the open border and how awful it is. If we give any semblance of compassion or mercy for the people who've been here for 20 years, for the people with kids, the kids who get any loophole that we convey is going to produce more people trying to come over the border, and many of those people are going to get killed. They're going to, they're drowned. There will be many deaths because of this, not to mention the drug smuggling and all that stuff. And so every time the NPR reporter would push back with the human rights compassion angle, his take is, yeah, but which do we pick? Which do we choose? Creating some way for people to stay in the United States who came here as kids and do the nuanced, compassionate thing, but it gives the impression to the rest of the world that we're doing that, and that gets X amount of people killed.
Throughout the episode, Rogan sounds torn. He says he originally supported Trump because he wanted order and economic growth, not mass deportations and violence. Now he feels like the government has turned human suffering into a show. Some listeners see this as genuine regret. Others say it's too little, too late. They remind him that Trump promised these policies from the start. So if Rogan didn't see it coming, it's because he didn't want to.
Sending people to other countries when they can't even speak the language. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
no one with a heart is going to go along with that.
No.
And no one, I did not ever anticipate seeing that on TV on a regular basis.
Me either, man. Me either. It's shocking.
I really thought they were just going to go after the criminals. I really thought there was enough gang members and enough people, MS-13 members and whatever they were looking for, that they're wanted. They would go after those guys.
Dude,
That's what I thought, right? But how many gang members have they actually arrested?
No idea. But you see how, and I hate using this word because the word is getting thrown around so much, and it's a stupid. Well, you didn't say that word. I'll say authoritarianism.
Yeah.
You see how authoritarianism, when it begins to emerge, it's not like it's like non-consensual. You see how it slowly creeps in, and how there's a great many people directly impacted by people who have crossed the border without using the right protocol, and in a horrific way. And there are gangs that have been in apartment complexes. There's people who've seen those videos too.
Right.
And they're like, fuck yeah. Yeah. And also a lot of people who got citizenship the regular way and went through fucking hell to get citizenship here, they're also like, fuck them. They're cutting in line, these motherfuckers. They're gumming up the system. They're making it so that we who are following the rules, not only it's taking us longer, but also now we have to deal with ICE too.
Many conservatives, especially figures like Steven Crowder, have expressed growing frustration with podcast hosts such as Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn for acting shocked over the surge in ICE raids and the harsh treatment of immigrants under President Trump. Crowder and others on the right see their outrage as hypocritical, arguing that these podcast bros were happy to enjoy the cultural clout of supporting Trump when it was trendy, but are now pretending to be morally disturbed when the administration follows through on exactly what it promised. To them, Rogan and Vaughn's sudden disillusionment isn't about compassion, it's about reputation. They believe these entertainers built their brands on being edgy, anti-establishment figures, yet are now trying to distance themselves from the uncomfortable reality of policies they once endorsed.
There's a narrative out there right now where people are saying, you know what, I was all in on Trump. And also, let's just be clear. Let's also apply these timelines. Donald Trump, very popular. Liberalism, losing ground consistently in social media and in the media sphere, especially with young voters, right? So during this period of time, people going, yeah, MAGA, baby, it's fun. Let's troll the libs. And now that he's in office and doing exactly what I voted for, what I actually championed, a lot of these people are going, we need to be adversarial. And no, I don't know what he's doing. This isn't cool with me. I don't understand it. You comment below. Are you surprised, or do you feel like you've been gypped by this administration? Again, none is perfect. It's been probably the most effective administration, maybe less than the first Trump administration, but certainly among the most effective administrations in my lifetime. But that has not stopped some people who claim to be amongst you from turning on him.
In the end, the latest Joe Rogan Experience episode with Duncan Trussell captures the uneasy crossroads America finds itself in, and Rogan himself embodies that confusion. Once confident in his support for Trump, he now sounds conflicted, torn between empathy and skepticism, between believing in strength and recognizing cruelty. His shifting stance mirrors the moral disarray of a country still trying to define what justice means. Conservatives like Steven Crowder see his regret as weakness. Liberals see it as a long overdue awakening. Yet, beyond all the noise, Rogan's struggle reveals something more universal: the exhaustion of a society that's been polarized for too long. As misinformation spreads and political identities harden, the real challenge isn't choosing sides, it's remembering our humanity. Whether Rogan is evolving or just circling the same arguments, his uncertainty has become a mirror for millions of Americans who no longer know what to believe, only that something has gone terribly wrong.